Don't know what it is that made us so indifferent. We're drifting in the dark. Can we do better? Wish I could rewind back to the start. Can we do better than this? Better. You got me high, then drop me low. You got there's something I can seem to let go. You got me high, then drop me low. You got there's something I can seem to let go. To let go.
Hello everyone and welcome to another round of the Virtual Drift Championship. This is round number 3 of season number 10. I can't believe it. We're at Castelletto circuit in Italy. And it's gonna be me, Craig, by myself for a little while. Maybe we'll see Mustafa later. We're gonna have to wait and see how far he goes in the competition, but he might be joining us later on here on the live stream and commentating with me. If you missed qualifying, well, you missed it. We had, of course, high scores, tons of 90s all throughout. We can actually bring up those top qualifying scores where we see Nico Stelea getting that 97, Zack O'Sullivan 96.7, and Olivier Blias 96 on the board, qualifying third today. Then we went on into our last 16 qualifying battles, where we're now here for our top 32 main event. Here is your bracket. Again, take screenshots if you need and would like to follow along. We'll be doing it this way. I'll pull it up in between groups, and our first group is going to be in that top left. So first up will be Nico, Stelea, and Brett Wolford, Brandon, Gardner, Samuel, Cuddy, Juanan, and Jorquez, and Braden, Swan, Yaroslav, Vasilio, and Mustafa, Amine in our first group. But before moving on and bringing them to the line, we'll bring up our line map for today one more time. Start of the course at the bottom of the screen, and initiating into your first decel zone. We want to see those lead drivers firing off right at the end of that rumble strip, just after that first outside zone, and then working their way around turn one, getting around that inside reference point that you see there, just staying on the outside of it and working their way into the next outside zone, clip number 2. Transitioning across the course to your next outside zone with a very small off throttle area for that zone. Very short, a little hard to see there on the line map, but it is there. We get around our next reference point, same thing. We want to see the drivers get around that inside reference point. We don't want to, basically dropping on the inside of it would be like dropping an inside tire. Moving up the course and up the hill into clip number 4. Staying wide and then making your transition across clip number 5. You really kind of sweep across clip number 5 as you come up over the hill and up over the crest for your first inside clipping point there at clip number 6, working your way to your outside for your next decel zone at clip number 7. Here we do not want to see lead drivers using their handbrake. We want to see them staying on throttle. They're allowed to use their left foot brake. And we want to see them use angle and slow the car down using angle and driving that car back down into your next inside clip. Or if you do it right, you really just kind of flow right on through there, but they are decreasing in speed. So we've highlighted that area for those chase drivers to, you know, be aware there and to, you know, maybe make some calls later on. But across that second inside clip, we work our way back to the outside for clip number 9 and then finish off with clip 10, a big outside zone with a long wall ride. Tricky to get into at the beginning of it, but if you get it right, the risk versus reward is a lot of fun. Well, bring our first set of battles to the line. Nico, Stelea, and Brett Wolford are gonna start out the top 32. What a battle. Start things out. Here they come around that corner and teammates facing off. RTR on RTR action. Nico in the purple Mustang out front. Brett giving chase. And lights are on. Here they go. First top 32 battle, and I think we might have had some contact. Yeah, a spin out there. Unfortunate to see there. We'll let them go around for a second here. They'll turn around. See if I can get the replay timing right here. Might have to wait just a few seconds, but we will wait for the replay to kind of play out here to see what inspired. I do think that is what happened though, as Brett hit Nico's rear bumper before initiating in. Yeah, right there. I believe so. Judges might go back on the in-game replays. Nico spins out, goes way too far, but maybe not. Maybe there wasn't contact, but they're back at the line, flipped around, and Brett is now in that lead position. Interesting way to start the top 32. Maybe judges discussing, maybe jumping into the replay right away here. See maybe what went on. Here we go. We're getting called for the lights. The lights are on, and they're ready to go. Brett firing off, getting around that inside reference point and filling outside zone number 2. Nico aggressive in that chase position right along that bumper and back into the pocket of his teammate out front. Good transition out front from Brett. Nico staying right there with him, locked into the pocket of Brett Wolford out front. Now down into the last and final outside zone along that wall, and there they go, crossing that finish line. We'll get our first full replay here with Brett out front, initiating and firing off on time, getting around that reference point. And look at the aggression there from Nico in that chase position. Once more, making that dive, jumping over that inside. That is okay to see from that chase position. Again, we want the lead to stay off those inside rumbles to give room for that. And there they go across that finish line. We'll go to our judges here. Missing Nico's picture. We'll hopefully get that sorted for you. Nico on the left and Brett on the right. Interesting here. So we have Chris going right for Brett. Ed and Carl go left for Nico Stelea. But Nico is going to get the win. So it does look like, yeah, there was contact on that, or before that initiation, really. But maybe Chris went in the way of Nico being at fault for the contact. Maybe, I'm not sure. But either way, Nico moves on. So up next, Brandon Gardner, Samuel Cuddy. One of the many BMW battles coming up today. And getting around that inside reference point. Look at Samuel. Right along the bumper through that first transition, right up into the pocket and staying with him up the hill here. Nice and smooth on the transition, getting outside of that inside rumble. Exactly what we want to see from Brandon. A little wide of the second one. Samuel taking advantage, staying smooth in that chase position, staying with Brandon Gardner. Back to that replay. Brandon Gardner out front. A little bit of late camera change. We got it. There it is. Through outside zone number one. Filling two very nicely. Done out front from Brandon. Setting up a very good chase opportunity for Samuel Cuddy. He does. He takes advantage of that opportunity. Stays with him. Matches the line and angle. Very nice throughout this entire course. But again, Brandon staying very smooth out front as well. All right, back at the line, ready to go. Brandon going after the side-by-side initiation. Staying aggressive here. Working their way through outside zone number two. Popping out of the smoke is Brandon back there in that chase position. Trying to stay closer than Samuel was in his chase. Samuel getting away a little bit, heading up the hill around that inside clip. Nicely done from Samuel out front on that outside zone as well. Down it to the last and final one. Along the wall, do we have some contact? I think we do. Almost a spin across the finish line. Rappy. Second half of the battle. Let's take another look here. Samuel Cuddy out front this time. Firing off on time, getting around that inside clip. Maybe a little bit of a angle correction through turn number one. Brandon jumping back onto the door quickly. Look at there, no room to spare. Heading up the hill, Samuel gets away a little bit. They head down into that second inside clip where Samuel nails it perfectly. Brandon right back onto the door. And a little bit of contact there. Crossing that finish line. Jeez. To our judges. Brandon Gardner on the left, Samuel Cuddy on the right. And there it is. Brandon Gardner gets the win, moving on into the top 16. Fantastic battle between those two. All right, so up next, Swan and Braden Swan. Swan and Jorquez and Braden Swan. Swan will lead onto the line in his M2. Braden running in his 370Z. They're off through the chicane. Initiating it, and Braden super aggressive, maybe making some contact. Doesn't seem to affect Wannanen all too much, but definitely negatively affecting Braden as they work their way up the hill now. Maybe a little bit of contact there on that transition for outside zone number 5, working around that second inside clip. Now down the hill into the final outside zone along the wall is Wannanen. My goodness. Right back to the replay. Wannanen out front, throwing it in. Maybe a tad slow. I mean, we do have a decel zone, and we need drivers to light off right at the end of that rumble strip. I do think he did that, but definitely maybe getting close to dropping a little too much speed. I'm not sure if we did have some contact there on that transition heading into outside zone number 5. Now down the hill, Wannanen getting away a little bit. I'll head back to the start line. All right, they're back, ready to go. Lights are illuminating. They're through the chicane. On the straight, initiating in. Filling outside zone number 2. And working their way up the hill now, filling 4 and 5. Right around that inside clip. Smooth lead out front, a little wide of 2, but he'll work his way down into that second to last outside zone. Now into the final one. Wannanen reeling him in. There they go, across that finish line, door to door. Jump to our replay. Braden out front this time. Around that inside reference point on a good line here through turn 1 and number 2. Wannanen doing a good job in that chase position as well. Nice and smooth. Catching the line and angle pretty nice there. Around that inside clip into the final outside zone where both of them are planted along that wall, leaving it just a little bit as Braden out front. We'll go to our judges. Wannanen on the left, Braden, Swan on the right. All right, and there you have it. Wannanen getting the win over Braden Swan. Their smooth battle really been between the two. We did have that contact though into the turn number 1. Gonna come down to that. Braden sending it in just a little hard. Up next, Yaroslav, Vasilio, and Mustafa Amine at the line, ready to go. They're off. Down the street, initiating in. Really fast out front. Staying on course. I thought he was going to go off in the big M4, but he keeps it going. Mustafa planting it on the door of the big car out front. Once more up the hill through the plateau area here. Back down it. Yaroslav can't get away from the Alteza. Look at there across that finish line, door to door. Mustafa going crazy. Let's go back to the replay. Yaroslav out front. Again, tons of speed there. Fires off maybe a little bit late, but he makes the turn work. Fills outside zone number 2, 3. Works his way around that inside reference point with Mustafa just almost pushing him up the hill there. Jumps right back into the pocket there. Through the little jump across that first inside clip. And then reels him right back in there for the final outside zone. Well, back around to the start. Mustafa out front now. On the straight, initiating in. Yaroslav going after it there in that chase position, but doesn't quite pay off. He falls back a little bit. Mustafa keeps it going. Fills outside zone number 3, barely around that inside reference point, but he fills outside zone number 4 or 5 as well. A little bit wide of inside clip number 1. Down around 2, maybe a little tight to it. And into the final outside zone. Leaving it just a tiny bit there. Yaroslav applying some pressure across that finish line. Jump to the replay. Mustafa out front. Willing to getting away from Yaroslav a little bit, but there. Yaroslav jumping right back into the fight, right back into pocket of the smaller IS out front. Around that inside clip. Maybe staying off the rumble there is Mustafa with all that angle. And just leaving that outside zone just a little bit. Let's go to the judges. Do we have a winner here between these two? Fight, battle, Yaroslav on the left, Mustafa on the right. And as I figured, we've got it one more time. They're going back to the start gate. Absolutely insane battle. Will we get a victor here? In the one more time. Yaroslav out front. Mustafa giving chase. Yaroslav throwing it in. Firing off late again a little bit, but once more makes it work. Fills outside zone number 2. 3 as well. Getting around that reference point. And maybe dropping just a tiny little bit of tire right there at the beginning of outside zone number 4. Around that second inside clip. Nicely done. Working their way down the hill now. Mustafa making the dive. Pushing him across the finish line. Right back to the replay here. Yaroslav. See here. Then firing off. Does get around the reference point, of course. Filling these outside zones nicely. Big car to get around this small course. Mustafa dealing with the long car out in front as well. Backing up to give just enough room for these transitions and then just quickly right back onto the door and applying the pressure. Back to the start line. Mustafa initiating in with a ton of speed. He goes wide. He doesn't drop a tire though. Fills outside zone number 2 anyway. Fills outside zone number 3 and is getting pushed up the hill now from Yaroslav. Good transition. A nice line across inside clip number 1 and 2 as well. Nicely done. Down the hill now, getting away from Yaroslav a little bit. Staying in the zone better this time is Mustafa. My goodness. Another tough one for the judges. Here we go, initiating it. Almost late for Mustafa. I'm not sure how he stayed on course, but he made it work. Fills outside zone number 2. Yaroslav stays with him up the hill. Drops back for that transition, right back into the pocket. Right back onto the door. Down the hill. Here's where Mustafa gets away a little bit. Pulls away. Yaroslav reels him back in. Right across that finish line. To the judges once more. Yaroslav on the left. Mustafa on the right. I can confirm the next group is loading into the server, which means we do possibly have a victor. As soon as I say that, I see it one more time pop up. Ed goes right, Carl goes right, Mustafa gets the win over Yaroslav. Vasilio here in the top 32. My goodness. Mustafa locked in here, and he'll face Wannen later on in the top 16. So again, that is going to complete our first group of the top 32. Nico Stelea getting the win over teammate Brett Wolford. We had contact on the run-up. Brett getting into the rear bumper of Nico, sending him off course. Brandon Gardner getting the win over Samuel Cuddy. Tough battle between the E46 and the E36. Wannen also getting the win over Braden Swan. Braden sending it in a little too hard in the chase, making contact in turn number 1, giving Wannen the win. Mustafa, we just saw, getting the win over Yaroslav after one more time. Our next group coming right up: Vitali, Assam, and Russell Jones, Martinez, Ostraka, and William Holloway, Steven Hatcher and Danielius Parangauskas, Alexander Jaggard, and Masashi Yoshida. Now, I'm not sure if Masashi has stuck around. I think he said he did have to leave. Totally understandable, though. Again, our normal scheduling for this season was meant to be Saturday and Sundays, but with the widespread ice and snow and potential for just crazy widespread power outages, we had the drivers vote, and we are holding our top 32 today. It does mean, well, the track does need some updates before I put it out public. This is part of why we don't put out the tracks right away, because they'll typically get some sort of update before it goes public. And it definitely needs a couple of updates before I put it out. Hopefully I can finish that up tonight and get it out tonight. Otherwise, it might be tomorrow morning if my power can hold out. But again, up next group of top 32, they're coming to the line now. Vitali, Assam, and Russell Jones. Take your screenshots of bracket now if you need, as those last runs finish out. Oh, we are sending them now. And there we go, Vitali firing off. Filling outside zone number 2 and 3. Russell trying to stick with him, but Vitali's fast out front. Look at this, working his way up the hill now, and Russell going after it, jumping. He has to slow down too much and doesn't make it around inside clip number 2. They continue on. My goodness. Take another look. Vitali again out front. Russell Jones giving chase. Firing off. Vitali out front. Filling outside zone number 2. 3. They're getting away from Russell, just kind of pulling away. Same right here, but then Russell goes for it. Has to back off tremendously. Has too much angle. Doesn't get around that second inside clip. But finishes off strong. They'll work their way back to the start. All right, back to the start and ready to go. Russell Jones now out front. Vitali will give chase. And they're through the chicane, down the short run up and throwing it in. Firing off out front is Russell Jones, dropping a little bit of tire there into outside zone number 2. Keeps it going around that inside reference and up into 4, filling it nicely right across 5, staying off the inside rumble, but needs some angle there. He goes wide of inside clip number 2. Car just wanting to drive forward there. There they go, across that finish line. And right back to the replay here. Russell Jones out front. Vitali giving chase. There we see that little tire drop from Russell Jones out front, but gets right back onto a really nice line here. Get his way up the hill. And here we see that lack of angle. Top of the hill around the inside clip. Little adjusting of the tire there. We're heading into that second to last outside zone. But let's go to our judges. Vitali on the left, Russell Jones on the right. And there it is. Vitali gets the win. He'll move on into the top 16, where he'll face off against the winner of our next battle, Martinez, Ostraka, and William Holloway. Here we go. Martinez out front. Throwing the beamer in. William diving in. Lacking a bit of angle there along that initiation into outside zone number 1, but he gets it together. Back into the pocket. Sacrificing some line and angle once more up the hill. Now across 5. Trying to stay with that beamer out front. Ooh, it just doesn't quite stay behind him there. Through that section of the course, there is a decel zone. Now the lead needs to stay on throttle. There they go across that finish line. We'll take a second look at it here on replay. Martinez again out front. There we see William. It almost looks like he doesn't quite initiate. Really makes an inside dive. Here we see him once more end up on the inside. That right there was a little awkward from Martinez before making that transition into 5. Almost like he stepped. Ended up transitioning a little late, but that'll be for the judges to go over before making their call as they head on back to the start for the second half of their battle, where William Holloway will lead. Pulling William up a little bit closer to the line there. Lights are on. They're ready to go. Second half of their top 32 battle here. William out front. Firing off around that inside reference point, filling that first or second outside zone. Nicely done for 3 as well. William looking good out front. Up the hill. Sweeping across 5. Staying off the inside rumble. Nicely done for inside clip number 2 as well by William. Tons of angle before making that final transition into the final outside zone. Look at there, across that finish line. Smooth lead out front. Take another look. Firing off nicely. Getting around that inside reference point out front. Nice and smooth from Will. He could have been maybe a little bit deeper there for 3. Nicely done for 4. Great for 5 as well. Good on Martinez in that chase position all through this run as well. Very smooth. William making it easy as well out front. We'll go to our judges. Martinez on the left, William Holloway on the right. And there it is. We do have a winner. William Holloway is going to take the win over Martinez Ostraka. Maybe we'll get one of the judges in to clarify, but I think I can take a guess with the... so there is a decel area at the top of the hill, but doesn't mean you can kind of crawl through there. Ed's already down here with us. What's up, Ed? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, really kind of barely got around it. Really didn't leave a whole lot of room for William. So, yeah, thanks for clarifying that. We'll move on ahead with our top 32. Steven Hatcher and Danielius Parangauskas at the line, ready to go. Steven Hatcher out front. Danielius give chase. And there they go, firing off quickly as Steven Hatcher, Danielius right there in chase. Right there, trying to reel him in. And going after a dive way over the jump there. No way, those two front wheels didn't come completely off the ground for Danielius, but he holds it together, keeping it going. Steven aggressive out front. Take another look. Even filling that outside zone number 2. Really on heater here, just fast uphill as well. Got the car planted, flying up over there. He's where he needs to be there as well. I mean, you know, we want that lead tire to be right in the middle of that box. That's what the line is for. Steven does exactly that. There they go across that finish line. Steven flying through the course. Back of the line, ready to go. Danielius now out front. And initiating in. Seems like a ton of speed makes it work. Steven jumping onto the door, almost making some contact there in turn number 1. Going after it once more here. A little bit of a awkward line there from Danielius. I think there at first glance. Oh my goodness gracious, Steven going after it in the chase. Super aggressive from Steven in the smaller car. Look at it really, man, quickly. There they go across that finish line. My goodness. No chill in Steven's car there. Danielius out front here on the replay. Throwing it in, firing off quickly, getting around the inside clip, filling outside zone number 2. Steven right along the bumper. Does kind of get mixed up maybe just a little bit, makes a little bit of contact there as well, pushing Danielius off course. There he goes after it once more, trying to stay with him. He does indeed stay with him. Down into the final outside zone. Upper buried along that wall. My goodness. We'll go to our judges here. Steven Hatcher on the left. Danielius Parangauskas on the right. I did see in chat that you couldn't hear Ed, and you are correct. I did have him muted, but there we go. Steven Hatcher does get the win over Danielius Parangauskas. We'll see Steven move on into the top 16. He's got the winner of our next battle. But again, what we got from Ed is exactly that. Just getting on the brakes a little bit too early at the top of the hill. And really slowing down way too much. Yeah, I do think we have a bye run here for Alexander Jaggard. Unfortunate to see Masashi Yoshida not make it for his battle, but once more, understandable. We apologize as well. Let Alexander Jaggard tear it up. Give us an example of the course. He qualified 12th today. He'll move on to face Steven Hatcher in the top 16. Oh my goodness gracious. There he goes. Nicely done from Alexander. All right. So, left-hand side of the bracket is complete. We saw Nico, Stelea, getting the win over teammate Brett Wolford. Brandon Gardner getting the win over Samuel Cuddy. Swan getting the win over Braden Swan. Mustafa Amine getting the win over Yaroslav Vasilio. Vitali Assam also taking on the win over Russell Jones. Moving on to the top 16 where he'll face William Holloway, who got the win over Martinez Ostraka. Then Stephen Hatcher getting the win over Danielius Parangauskas, and then Alexander Jaggard getting his bye run against Masashi Yoshida, who qualified 21st, put on a show for us in qualifying. Hopefully we'll see him back again for round number 4. But next up, Zack O'Sullivan, after qualifying second today, he'll face off against Kevin Stump, who battled his way through the last 16 qualifying battles. They're at the line, ready to go. We'll wait for those last little bit of practice runs to finish off. I can hear him in the background there. And we're sending him off. And Zack O'Sullivan out front, initiating in, tons of speed, firing off quickly as well. Early, still in the zone, filling outside zone number 2. Kevin Stump going after it in that chase position, almost making some contact. Staying with him up the hill into 4, now 5. Across that first inside clip. Zack on a banger of a line through inside clip number 2, down the hill now as well, and along the wall, crossing that finish line. Nicely done by both these drivers. Back on the replay. Out front, making it easy. Haven't taken advantage. Right along the bumpers here. Matching the line and angle quite nice. A couple of little bobbles there around that inside clip from Kevin Stump out front. A near perfect run out front from Zack O'Sullivan. Excuse me, Kevin, in that chase. They're back at the line, ready to go. Kevin Stump now out front. Zack O'Sullivan giving chase. Lights turn blue. They're down the straight. Initiating in, a little awkward from Kevin Stump out front. A little shaky. Fills outside zone number 2 and 3 though. Gets on a good line, working his way up the hill now, filling 4. 5 as well. A little bit of a dive there towards the inside. But gets around inside clip number 2. Now down the hill, hangs on to that outside for quite a little bit before making his transition. He taps the wall just a little bit as well before crossing that finish line. Let's take a look back on our replay here. Kevin Stump in out front. A little bit of a tire drops there from Kevin Stump as well in turn number 1. Didn't catch that the first time around, but we did see a little puff of dirt there. He stays off the edge there. A little shallow of 5. Makes the dive across that first inside clip. A little late there as well. It leads him to be a little bit on the outside for maybe a little bit longer than he wanted. There they go across that finish line. Let's go to our judges. Zack O'Sullivan on the left, Kevin Stump on the right. There they go. Unanimous decision. Zack O'Sullivan gets the win here in the top 32 over Kevin Stump, and we'll see him in the top 16. Next up, Darius Ostraka and Daniel Andrejev. 15th qualifier versus the 18th qualifier. Love these battles. Really close qualifying scores here, which really all of the scores are very close here in the series, but these are those battles that are the closest. Darius out front. Daniel giving chase. Down the straight, really over the line there against Daniel, but Daniel deals with it, stays out of the way. Nicely done. in outside zone number 3 and up into 4. Cooking up the course now. Daniel Andrejev in that chase position. Perfectly matching that line and angle up on the plateau of the course. Now through the final outside zone. There they go across that finish line. Right back to the replay. Check this out. A little bit over the line. Daniel finds himself a little bit on the inside of turn number 1. Right there, working his way up the hill. A little sacrifice in line and angle. Right there as well. Working their way around that inside clip. Maybe a little bit wide from Darius. Final transition down and through that wall, right along it. And Daniel nearly pushing him across the finish line. Back to the start line. Daniel Andrejev now out front. Darius, give chase. And initiating and firing off quickly. Nicely done around turn number 1 and filling outside zone number 2. Daniel throwing some angle into turn number 2. Fills 4 though. And look at there, Darius in that chase position, flying over the little hump there. Nice and tight to the inside clip. Final transition down into that last and final wall run. He leaves the outside just a little bit. Goodness. Take a look at it for a second time here. And okay, similar. I didn't catch that the first time around. See Darius way on the inside after that initiation. Into turn number 1. Work their way back up the hill now. A little dive there is Darius. Across that finish line, maybe a little bit of contact there between them two. Oh, and it looks like we have a quick decision. They're already sliding right as I pull the graphic up. Daniel Andrejev gets the win and moves on into the top 16. He'll have Zack Sullivan. Oh, next up, Tikhon, Pleski, and Ethan and Pitrakou coming to the line. Tikhon qualifying 7th today, but did have a very awkward un-Tikhon-like run for his second run. And Ethan qualifying 26th. At the line, ready to go. And those lights turn blue. Tikhon fires a BMW in. But we see Ethan come in a little hot there. There is a decel on that initiation. Lead needs to fire off right at the end of that rumble strip. Oh, and we've got some more contact there from Ethan in that chase position. Really pushing hard. There they go across that finish line. A few things to take a look at here on the replay. Initiating in. Yeah, a little bit late from Ethan on that initiation. Didn't really enter in with Tikhon. Entered in after, came in a little hot. Tikhon leaving 4, maybe a little bit early. Could have been deeper for 5. Nicely done there until we got a little bit of contact from Ethan in that chase position. They go across that finish line for the first half of their battle. They flip it around. Working our way through with the top 32 now. Ethan back at the line in the lead. Tikhon in the chase. Second half of this top 32 battle. Around that inside reference point. Can he get out there to that outside zone, gets out there a little late. Snappy transition to work his way up the hill now. Tikhon dealing with it. Pops out of the smoke. Jumps over that first inside clip around that second inside clip as well. Nicely done out front. Ethan flying into the last and final outside zone along that wall. My goodness. Let's take another look here. Ethan charging through, firing off quickly around that, but we see there gets to that outside just a little late, making that transition quite snappy. Forces you into that position. Tikhon dealing with it. Perfect for that inside clip. Final transition right along that wall. Look at that. Near perfect out front. Tikhon taking advantage. We'll go to our judges. Tikhon on the left, Ethan on the right. And it looks like we have a decision. Tikhon Pleski gets the win over Ethan Pitrakou here in the top 32. Tikhon will go on to face the winner of our next battle, Brandon Patrick and Vladislav Yakulevich. Our final battle here in this group of top 32 before we load in our last group. They're at the line ready to go again. Brandon Patrick out front. Vladislav to give chase. Getting around that inside reference point, filling outside zone number 2. Brandon trying to get away from him. Working their way up the hill now. Filling 4. Filling 5 as well. A little bit wide of inside clip number 1, but perfect on number 2. Final outside zone now along the wall. Putting the bumper there. And pressure being applied in that chase position from Vladislav. Take another look. Brandon pucking it in. Leaves outside zone number 1 a little bit early, but fills 2. Vladislav, look at there, making a massive dive through that first transition of the course. A little late on the transition up the hill for 5, maybe, from Brandon Patrick. And near perfect across that finish line. We'll bring him back to the start. Flip him around. We'll put Vladislav out front. D-Pat. Give chase. They're off through the chicane, down the small run up, throwing their cars in. Filling 2, nicely done for turn number 1. Very clean so far, now working their way up the hill. Brandon trying not to let him get away. Makes a dive there over the little hump, deals with it nicely. Good tune in the car. Didn't really seem to upset it at all. They continue on, filling that last and final outside zone. Tough battle to call here, I think. Let's take another look. Vladislav initiating in, fills outside 1 better a little bit. Grabs 2. Big dive from Brandon, maybe not quite as aggressive as Vladislav in that chase position. Go either way there through that section. Now down in last and final outside zone. Hanging the wing over the wall. But Brandon, again, right there with him. Do we have a decision between these two, or will we see him line back up? Will we see another one more time in here in the top 32? We're round 1 in general. I think we started our last 16 qualifying battles out with a one more time, and we do not. Vladislav Yakulevich is going to get the win. Chris wanted to see it one more time, but Ed and Carl go right. Oh, we'll pull up our bracket here. As our top right of the top 32 is now complete. Zack O'Sullivan gets the win over Kevin Stump. We'll see him in the top 16 against Daniel Andrejev, who got the win over Darius Ostraka. Tikhon Pleski also getting the win over Ethan Pitrakou, and Vladislav Yakulevich getting the win over Brandon Patrick. So we'll see Tikhon Pleski and his teammate Vladislav Yakulevich face off in the top 16. Our next group of top 32 now loading in: Olivier Plias, Ernestas Yakulibis, David Lashko, Nick Hang, Abdulrahman Al-Shetwi, Lukasz Pesquini, Alan Hines, and Steven Jarbo. Again, pick your screenshots if you'd like to follow along, or in between groups, we'll be showing it here on the stream. Yeah, all the teammates having to face off against each other so far. Well, not all of them, but a few of them. We had Nico and Brett, and now we've got Tikhon and Vladislav in the top 16. Should be a fun one. Zack O'Sullivan and Daniel Andrejev also facing off in the top 16. Should be a crazy one. Nico, Stelea, and Brandon Gardner as well. A lot of top 16 battles coming up that are going to be ridiculous. And here in the top 32, some of these next ones coming up. Olivier coming out swinging today and qualifying third today in the 36. All right, and coming back to the line, Olivier Plias and Ernestas Yakulibis. Lights illuminate. And initiating it, firing their cars in. Olivier staying aggressive, filling outside zone number 2. Maybe could have been a little bit further on that yellow line. Gets around that inside reference, filling 4. Sweeping across 5, staying off that inside rumble, but a little bit on the outside there as well. They're working their way down the hill now. Final transition. Getting away from Ernestas a little bit before Ernestas reels him back in, but does sacrifice a little bit of that line. We'll take a second look. Nicely done on 1, and that initiation move, big angle. Ernestas dealing with it nicely as well, taking advantage, working their way up the hill, almost pushing Olivier. A little bit wide again. We want that lead wheel in the middle of that box out front, burying the bumper along that wall. Nicely done. All right, and they turn back around. Ernestas now out front. Olivier giving chase. Get that graphic in the top left updated, but oh my goodness gracious, Olivier almost biting off more than he can chew, but makes it work. They continue on, really flying up the hill there. Took Ernestas a second to kind of transition, working his way up the hill into outside zone number 5, and there they go across that finish line. Olivier gets right back into the fight. Go back to our replay again. Ernestas out front. Throwing it in. Almost ended the run there. Stays off of him. Avoids contact. Maybe a little bit of pushing. Right there. A little late on that transition working up the hill. Ernestas still kind of straight as he drove through outside zone number 5. But burying the bumper through the wall there. And it looks like, do we have a decision here? They might have gone back to the pit. Yeah, we'll go to our judges here. Olivier on the left, Ernestas on the right. Had me confused the way they didn't park up, but Ernestas does indeed get the win. Unanimous decision over Olivier, but Olivier nicely done today, qualifying 3rd. But we'll see Ernestas in the top 16. Our next battle ready to go. David Lashko and Nick Heng. David Lashko out front. Nick in that chase. Staying with him through turn number 1. Nicely done on that first transition as well. Bumper to bumper, gets right up into the pocket of Nick Heng. Good transition, but ends up a little bit on the inside out front. Nicely done for 2 though. Out down the hill. Hanging the wing over the wall. Nick Heng pushing him across the finish line. Quickly back to that replay. David throwing the car in. Fighting off early. Nicely done for 2. It could have been slightly deeper, but grabs 3 perfect. Nick taking advantage. Look at this. Pops out of the smoke. Makes the dive across the little jump there, but he's got his car dialed and it doesn't matter. They continue on down the hill, right across the bumper for the final transition. Maybe making some contact before crossing that finish line. Staying scrappy. All right, back at the line, ready to go. Nick Heng now out front. David Lashko to give chase. Through that chicane. And firing the car in, throwing it in there. Right along the outside, filling outside zone number 2. Getting away from David a little bit, but David going for a huge dive there. Thought we were going to have some contact, but he stays off. Sacrificing some line there in that chase position, but he's making it work. Final transition down the hill into the final outside zone, putting the bumper along the wall, and they go across that finish line. Exciting second half there. Look at the replay. Nick Heng. Really good lead line through turn at number 1. Around that inside reference point, filling 4. Smooth transition on 5, but David once more taking advantage, but does end up a little bit on the inside. He's good for 2 though. Out down the hill, backs up for that final transition, then quickly reels him in. Do we have a decision between these 2? David on the left, Nick on the right. And we do. David Lashko gets the win over Nick Heng here in the top 32. He'll move on to face Ernestas Yakulevich in the top 16. Up next, Abdulrahman Al-Shetwi and Lucas Pasquini at the line, already ready to go for their top 32 battle. Abdulrahman qualifying 6th. Lucas qualifying 27th. And they are off. Abdulrahman again out front. Initiating in and filling outside zone number 1. Works his way to 2. Leaves it just a little soon. Filling 3. Could have been a little bit deeper there as well. Lucas Dealing with it. Pops out of the smoke there, makes the dive along inside clip number 1, stays with him through 2, and now down the hill, backs up for that final transition. Oh my goodness gracious, goes for the dive and makes it work. There they go across that finish line. When they came across the camera, I was shocked. Take another look. Gosh, in that chase position. Staying with him all through this run. Going around these inside reference points, filling these outside zones out front. Look at the dive there in that chase position, making it work around inside clip number 2. Of course, is so much fun. Look at that dive there. Nice and smooth. The back of the line ready to go. Gosh, now out front. Flying in, look at there. Almost making some contact through that initiation as they work their way through the course now up the hill. And look at there, almost being pushed by Abdurrahman in that chase position. Big dive way on the inside from Abdurrahman as they work their way down the hill into the final wall right here. All the way around it, nicely done. Take another look. Lucas firing in again, almost getting pushed. Filling outside zone number 2 nicely. Really good lead line out front. I like it. That transition for 3. Filling 4. There we saw that big dive across the inside from Abdurrahman. There they go across that finish line. We'll go to our judges. Once more here in the top 32. Abdurrahman on the left, Lucas on the right. And look at there, we have a one more time. So Chris and Carl go with a one more time. Ed goes with Lucas. We're gonna line them back up. Back at the line, ready to go. Abdurrahman again now out front here for their one more time battle. Initiating and filling outside zone number 1, getting around that inside reference point and filling to Lukash. Right along the bumper, making a little dive here. Work their way up the hill. Grab 6, 7 at the top as well, filling that little inside box there. And hanging the wing over the wall. And they go across that finish line. And one more time battle between these two. Take a look on the replay here. Abdurrahman out front. Oh gosh, chasing him down and doing a good job doing so. Right along the bumper there. Giving just enough room for these transitions in this small course. Around that first inside. Perfect on the next one. Very clean lead out front, hanging the wing over the wall there. Lukash again, staying right there with him throughout the entirety of the run. Here they go, down the small run up. Rolling the car in and looking good through turn number 1. Nice lead line. Big angle there through outside zone number 3. Working their way up the hill now. Perfect along that plateau area. I'm almost speechless here. I kind of am. Look at there, the massive dive to finish off this one more time battle between these two. Let's take a second look. Lukash out front. Abdurrahman giving chase and doing just that. Big angle there to start the run out. Filling outside zone number 2. Working their way up the hill now, filling 3. Again, big angle out front. Abdurrahman. The dive there along the inside, staying with him tight through here. Last and final transition. And the dive. Pushing him through this last and final outside zone. We go to our judges. Abdurrahman on the left. Lukash on the right. And we do have a decision. So Chris goes right for Lukash Pasquini, but Ed and Carl go left for Abdurrahman Al Shetwi. Abdurrahman gets the win, moves on into the top 16. He's got the winner of our next battle, Alan Hines and Steven Jarbo. At the line, ready to go as well. Our last and final top 32 battle. Or round number 3 here at Castelletto Circuit. Alan Hines will lead. Even Jarbo. We'll get that graphic updated there. Maybe we won't. Alan Hines again is out front. There it is. Quick switch and a quick initiation from Alan Hines. Filling outside zone number 3. Working their way up the hill now. Filling 4. Steven going after a dive. Perfect around that inside clip number 2 and filling the next outside zone. Nicely done for the final transition. And look at Steven pushing Alan Hines across that finish line. Take another look. Alan leading Steven through the course here. Big initiation from Alan. Washes maybe a little bit wide. Fills outside zone number 2 though. 3 as well, using that rumble strip. Big Mustang up front, filling 4, maybe leaving it just a tiny bit early. Grabs 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now down into 9. Last and final 10th flip of the course, filling that zone. Even pushing him across that finish line. Back at the line, ready to go. Steven now out front. Leading Alan Hines. And throwing the RX-7 in. Didn't quite get to the angle he maybe wanted, but once he lit off, it was good to go for turn number 1. Working their way around turn number 2 now. Filling 4. Now 5. And up and over the little hump there. Fantastic job for inside clip number 2. And down through the final outside zone. Allen pushing him across that finish line as well. Back and forth between these two. Nicely done for outside zone number 1. Who as well planting that tire right along that edge. Allen staying right there with him. Along that plateau here. Perfect on that inside clip as well. What a transition into the final outside zone of the smaller R7. Allen once more pushing him across that finish line. Do we maybe have a one more time? Or are we ready to go to our top 16? And after a short little break, we'll take a small little breather in between our top 32 and top 16, and it does look like we have a victor. Alan Hines gets the win over Steven Jarbo in the top 32. Again, our final battle there in the top 32 will bring up our bracket before moving along into our top 16 after a short commercial break. So there it is. Take your screenshots of the top 32 if you'd like. And up next after our break will be Nico, Stelea, and Brandon Gardner. We'll work our way down that left-hand side of the bracket, then load in the right-hand side before moving on into our top 8. All right. So again, short commercial break. We'll hear from our wonderful sponsors to help make it all happen, and we'll be right back for the top 16. All right, welcome back everyone. Again, this is round number 3. If you're just now joining us, we just completed our top 32 and are moving on into our top 16. Let's take a look at that bracket. We'll work on our left-hand side of the bracket first and work down. So, Nico, Stelea, and Brandon Gardner, Juan and Jorquez, and Mustafa, Amine, Vitali, Assam, and William Holloway, Stephen Hatcher, and Alexander Jaggard, all up next on the left-hand side of the bracket. Again, take your screenshots now if you'd like to follow along with us. We work our way through the bracket. I'll bring up the bracket as we switch groups. So again, we'll work on that left-hand side, load in the right-hand side, and that'll be that opportunity for me to pull up the bracket for everyone to see. We're getting the last call for those little bit of practice runs as we take our break in between top 32 and 16. Again, track will release shortly after today's event. A couple little things I'd like to do to it before I send it out to the public. Like the lights you see around the course are currently not working. I'd like to get those working. We can run at this small, tight little course at night. Will be a lot of fun. And we bring our next set of drivers to the line. It'll be Nico, Stelea, and Brandon Gardner to start out top 16. And they're at the line, ready to be sent off again. Go out front. Oh, and we need an update. There we go. There's the graphic. There's Dion as they work their way down the run up and firing in. Nico out front. Brandon Gardner giving chase, filling outside zone number 2 out front. Again, Nico qualifying first today. Trying to get away from Brandon Gardner in that chase position, but can't shake him. Look at Brandon pop out of the smoke. Stay with him around these inside clips. Down the hill now. Final transition. Brandon makes a final dive along the door of Nico, Stelea out front and makes it work. There they go. Finishing out the first half of their top 16 battle here. Wonderful way to start things out. Nico again out front here on that replay. Firing off. Getting a little tap from Brandon Gardner in that chase position. Getting away a little bit, but Brandon reeling him in quickly as Nico goes a little wide. Doesn't quite fill 4. Sweeps across 5, maybe a little bit late, and there's where we see Brandon pop out of the smoke, right along the door, staying with him. And then that final dive from Brandon in that chase position, while Nico does put his bumper right along that wall. Here they are. Throwing the car in. Picking up that throttle quickly and filling outside zone number 2. Working his way up the hill. Filling 3 as well. Getting a little push from Nico in that chase position. Leaping across 5. Across that second inside clip. A little bit wide there. Final transition. Oh, it gets a piece of the wall. Brandon Gardner out front. Take another look. Brandon throwing the car in. Nicely done for turn number 1. Really smooth into outside zone number 2. There we see that little bit of contact there, and Brandon hold it together after being smacked into the door. Back down the hill, pouring on the angle there before the final transition. Then bang on the wall, putting the bumper a little bit deep in that final outside zone. We'll go to our judges. Nico on the left. Brandon Gardner on the right. And we've got one more time from Chris there. Waiting on Ed and Carl. Ed goes left for Nico, and another one more time there from Carl in the middle. So we'll line him back up. Back at the line, ready to go. Nico, now out front. Brandon to give chase. One more time battle. Another way to start out the top 16. We started the last 16 this same exact way. Filling outside zone number 2 now out front. Nico throwing it up the hill. Goes maybe a little bit wide. Can he fill 4? He does. Sweeping across 5, maybe a little shallow. Perhaps 6, stays off the rumble. Once more here, last and final transition with Brandon. Putting it right back onto the door. Again, Nico out front. Throwing it in here on the replay. And right there with him. Final transition, or excuse me, second transition. I don't know what I'm thinking. Working their way up the hill. Yeah, see, Nico maybe a little bit on the inside of 5. This is way wide, but grabs that second to last outside zone. Puts the Mustang right along that wall, but Brandon puts his Beamer right along the door. Back at the line, ready to go. Brandon Gardner now out front. Second half of there one more time. Throwing that Boundless Racing E36 in and filling outside zone number 2 with Nico right there in chase. Going after a little dive there for turn 2. Up the hill, sweeping across 5 and staying off that inside rumble. Out front is Brandon. A little adjustment there for outside, or excuse me, inside flip number 2, working their way through the final zone and across that finish line. Back to the replay here. Brandon out front. Nice line through turn number 1. Nico taking advantage, making a little dive there. Both getting around that inside reference and filling 4 nicely. Out front is Brandon. Staying off that inside rumble. There's that little change up there from Brandon out front. Door to door across that finish line. Will we have a decision between these two? Nico on the left, Brandon on the right. Winner goes to the top 8 here for round number 3. And it looks like we have some sort of a decision here, and it is going to be Brandon Gardner getting the win over Nico. Stelea. Ed goes left for Nico, but Chris and Carl go right for Brandon Gardner, giving him the win. We'll see him in the top 8. Up next, Swan and Mustafa. Coming to the line for another battle here in the top 16. Second battle. First one started out with a one more time. Same with our last 16 qualifying battles earlier today. Started out with a one more time. And to the line. Warren qualifying 8th today. We'll have to figure out the exploding smoke as well. I'm CSP doing CSP things, but we love it. And yeah, yeah, I was gonna say I believe we're gonna get a restart there. I'm gonna assume Juan couldn't see the light and left very late. He'll make his way back to the line. Oh, I don't know if he can go there. Okay. If I were him, I would brush your tire, dust them off, Juanin. Okay. He's gonna come back to the line. So, for those that don't know, when you do drive through grass or sand, your tires in Assetto do get dirty. But again, a graphic a little backwards there. There we go. Juanin out front. The lead, Mustafa Amine, excuse me. Juanin working his way through turn number 1 with Mustafa right there in tow, going after it. Nice clean dive from Mustafa. They work their way up the hill now. Goodness gracious, Mustafa. I don't think you can be any closer in that section of the course, and somehow he makes it work. Goes after another dive here for the last and final turn. There they go across that finish line. Nice lead out front from Juan as well. And for those wondering, absolutely, this is Assetto Corsa in the chat. Juan, and let's on this replay, nice and smooth out front. And his way around that inside reference. On that inside clip as well. Look at these dives from Mustafa. Great job by both. Well, back at the line as I pop my next drink open. Mustafa ready to go in that lead position. Flying down the small run up. Picking up throttle early. Working his way around that inside reference and filling 2. Maybe hanging on to the outside a little long. Maybe a tap there from Warren in that chase position as well. Filling 4. Sweeping across 5. Maybe a little late, but stays off that inside rumble. Working his way around the second one. Filling these zones down into the final outside zone, leaving Juanin a little bit behind there. Juanin ending up on the inside line just a little bit there. We're crossing the finish line. Let's take another look. And working his way through turn number 1 here on the replay. Oh, maybe a little contact there before the transition even happened. Very close from Juanin. Definitely taps him a little bit in the beginning of turn 2. Down around that second inside clip. There they go across that finish line. Let's go to the judges. Juanin on the left. Mustafa on the right. And they're sliding right. Mustafa Amine gets the win here in the top 16. Moving on into the top 8 where he'll face Braden Gardner. So at the line, ready to go, Vitali, Assam, and William Holloway. Ready to go for their top 16 battle. Vitali qualifying 4th today. William Holloway qualifying 20th. Again, down the small run up, throwing it in. Filling the first 2 outside zones and getting away from William a little bit. William going after a little bit of a dive, reels him in pretty quick there, but again, not getting left behind a little bit there too. Goes after another dive in this section of the course. Ooh, and getting a little mixed up there before that final transition is William in that chase. There they go across that finish line. We'll take another look at it. around that inside reference point. Is he getting away from William Holloway a little bit? It looks like he reels him in there as we switch camera. William sacrificing that outside zone number 4 to stay with him. Does a good job there around that second inside clip, but there, maybe getting stuck on that rumble strip a little bit before making that final transition. Back of the line, ready to go. William Holloway now out front. Initiating in and almost getting hit there from Vitali in that chase position. Might have been a little bit of contact there as they work their way through the remainder of the course now. Up the hill, flying through inside clip number 1. Maybe a little bit too far on the inside. Out down the hill, filling that last and final outside zone across that finish line. Not really done. Let's go to our replay. William out front, really close to having some contact there. I'm not sure how tire wasn't dropped as well from Vitali, but they continue on. Filling 4, nicely done from William out front. Very smooth, but a little bit too far on the inside of inside clip number 1. Nicely done for 2 though. Final transition was very smooth as well. Staying on that edge all the way around. Let's go to the judges. Vitali on the left, William Holloway on the right. And there it is. We do have a decision. Vitali is going to get the win over William Holloway. Chris wanted to see it one more time, but Ed and Carl go left. And we'll put Vitali in the top 8, where he'll face the winner of our next battle, Steven Hatcher and Alexander Jaggard. Steven at the line, ready to go in that lead position. Alexander ready to go in the chase. Be our last battle on the left hand side of the top 16 bracket, where we load our next group. Lights are on. They are off. Steven's been aggressive all day. Alexander hasn't seen a battle yet, and there he goes, pushing Steven along through turn number 1. Steven making his first transition, going wide, working his way into 4 now. Sweeps across 5 with Alexander making a dive up the hill along the small little jump there. Filling the penultimate outside zone into the final one. Steven working his way back out to the outside. Could have been a little deeper there along that wall. Here we go to the replay. Just a little bit washy from Steven Hatcher out front into that turn number 2. Perfect for that inside clip. It could have been a little bit deeper there as well for 9. And through 10. Not quite as deep as he could have been on the wall, but Alexander doing a pretty good job there in that chase position as well. Back at the line, ready to go. Alexander now out front. On the run up, initiating in and lighting off on time, but a huge bobble there in that chase position from Steven Hatcher. Continuing on now around that inside reference point. Good line, but does drop a little bit of tire there and then doesn't quite fill 5. really leaves that outside a little bit early there as they continue on now into the final outside zone where Steven is getting aggressive once more across that finish line. Back to the replay. Sliding off quickly, and there we see just a really big bobble from Steven Hatcher there. Not sure if he maybe picked up throttle in the wrong gear. Not sure. There we see that little puff of dirt, and just driving through outside zone number 5 is Alexander out front. We'll continue on. And Steven nearly pushing him across that finish line. A little tire drop there across that finish line as well. We go to our judges. Steven Hatcher on the left, Alexander Jaggard on the right. So they drove off like there's a decision, but we haven't gotten anything on our graphic. And it looks like they're coming back to the line, so I think we have a one more time. Back to the line where Steven Hatcher will now be out front. I think we may have lost Dion. Yes. We don't have the graphic changing either, so again, this is the one more time. There it is. Now it changes. Dion's awake. Steven Hatcher throws in that S13. Alexander Jaggard falling behind a little bit. Steven works his way up the hill now. Alexander back into the fight, but Steven leaving more early. Ooh, a little awkward there in that section of the course. Not quite as smooth as we want to see. A big transition, grabs a piece of the wall as well. There they go across that finish line. So a little bit of a messy start. Do the one more time. Take another look. And Steven out front, initiating in. Firing off quickly, almost getting pushed there. Does end up on the outside, maybe a little bit late versus way around here. And yeah, leaves that really early, so that kind of throws that off as well. The whole line going through that section of the course. Alexander doing a good job in that chase position to deal with it as well. There we see that little wall tap from Steven. And they're heading back to the line. Back of the line, ready to go. Alexander Jaggard now out front. Oh no! And we've got quite the mishap there in the initiation. We'll take another look at it on the replay. We'll let it play out. They're continuing on like it didn't happen. Look at the massive dive from Stevie. He makes some contact. It throws him off. Down into the final outside zone. Now Steven pushing hard. There they go across that finish line. And let's take another look at it here. Interesting turn of events there. We'll let the judges dissect that one. They work their way through the remainder of the course now up the hill. Even going after that dive, making a little bit of contact there, but it is during a correction out front from Alexander through that section of the course. Now it is in the section of the decel zone. We do have a decel zone in that area. Again, drivers need to stay on throttle through there, but use angle and are allowed to use their left foot brake through that section of the course. Really kind of in between 7 and 8. I had to think about it for a second, I'm not gonna lie. Car Hero controller would be crazy. Although I do get down on some Clone Hero. do. Not gonna lie. Good time. And we do have a decision. Steven Hatcher is going to get the win over Alexander Jaggard. A lot happened there in that second half of the battle along that initiation. I thought it was gonna maybe swing that way with Alexander being super deep as an awkward initiation. That's gonna do it for the left-hand side of our top 16 bracket. Brandon Gardner getting the win over Nico Stelea. Mustafa Amine getting the win over Swan. Vitali getting his win over William Holloway. And Steven Hatcher getting the win over Alexander Jaggard just now in the one more time battle. And he'll face Danielius in the top 8. But up next, the right-hand side of the bracket. Zack, Sullivan, and Daniel Andrejev, Tikhon, Pleski, and Vladislav Yakulevich, Ernestas Yakulevich, David Lasko, Abdulrahman Al-Shetwi, and Alan Hines. All coming up next. Again, take your screenshots if you'd like to, or I'll bring up the bracket in between groups. They're at the line ready to go. Zack Sullivan out front. Daniel Andrejev to give chase. Here in the top 16. Initiating in. Getting around turn number 1 and filling outside zone number 2. Daniel going after a little dive there in that chase position right along the bumper and right along the door into outside zone number 4. Getting a little mixed up. Hanging on to it there. Zack perfect on inside clip number 2, and now down into the final zone along the wall, being pushed a little bit from Daniel Andrejev before crossing that finish line. Take another look. Good early initiation from Zack, nice and smooth as well as he works his way to that outside. You're perfect all the way through this lead run with Daniel right there in that chase position. Good smooth transitions out front, but matching line and angle nicely is Daniel Andrejev in that chase position. Sacrificing a little bit there. We're heading into the final zone, but it pays off. They'll work their way back to the start and we'll flip him around. Ready to go. Daniel now out front to lead Zack Sullivan. And initiating in, Zack being aggressive. And it's paying off so far. Backing up quite a bit there for that first transition though, literally as I say it. Working their way through now. Inside clip number 2. Down the hill, filling the penultimate outside zone into the final one. Zack going after a dive. Oh, and some contact there. Weird. As right before they cross the finish line. Let's take another look here. Daniel out front. Nice and smooth. Through outside 1. Getting into 2. Could have been maybe a little bit deeper. We want to see that yellow line quite literally disappear from that tire. Smooth on fine, but could have been a little bit deeper for longer there. Nicely done on the inside clip. Final transition gets away from Zack a little bit. Yeah, really odd there before crossing that finish line. I don't know if it was a little bit of some net code going on, but we will go to our judges. Zack Sullivan on the left, Brandon Andrejev on the right. Yeah, Vert, always nice to see you in chat there. Again, everyone just now joining us. A little bit different today with the massive storm going across quite the swath of the U.S. today. Switching things up and just getting it all done today on Saturday instead of having to split Saturday and Sunday. Drivers voted on it, staff voted on it. Here we are. And it is a totally split call. We're going to line them back up for a one more time. All right, back to the line for their one more time battle here in the top 16. And Zack out front, initiating in, filling outside zone number 1 and firing off and getting pushed off course by Daniel Andrejev in that chase position. They continue on up the hill now, filling outside zone number 4. Now 5, sweeping across it, but maybe getting pushed once more by Daniel Andrejev. Just absurdly aggressive here in this chase position. Not letting up against Zack. There they go across that finish line. Take another look on the replay here. Nappy initiation by Zack O'Sullivan. And works his way to the outside. It's kind of hard to tell if he's actually getting pushed there. I think he is getting pushed before dropping that tire there as well, possibly. There, definitely around the inside clip number 2. It just doesn't really allow Zack to get down to it. There they go across that finish line. Yeah, it is aggressive there in chat, but maybe a little bit too aggressive in that chase position. They're back at the line, ready to go. Daniel Andrejev. Now out front. Zack O'Sullivan to give chase. You're in the top 16. One more time battle between these two. Zack qualifying 2nd today. Daniel qualifying 18th. Through the chicane. And initiating in. Zack almost pushing him as well. Very close indeed. Going after a smooth dive here into turn number 2. Filling 4. And 5. Staying off the inside rumbles. Yeah, nicely done on the inside clip. Could have been deeper for that zone. And then a weird transition and unfortunate rage quit from Daniel Andrejev. We'll take another look at it here. Initiating and filling outside zone number 1. Gets into 2. Working his way up the hill now. Filling 4. Zack staying with him through that inside clip as well. I'm not sure what in the world happened there. It just kind of gets stuck on angle, and then like I said, for anyone wondering, rage quit the game, and we're left with Zack. Zack on the left, Daniel Andrejev on the right. And there it is. Zack O'Sullivan gets the win. And it moves on into the top 8. All right, and our next teammate battle coming to the line, Tikhon, Pleski, and Vladislav Yakulevich. Tikhon, Pleski to lead his teammate, qualifying 7th today. And through the chicane, down the run up, and firing off. The darker green versus the lighter green, working their way through turn number 2 now and up the hill. Around that first inside clip, Tikhon making it smooth for his teammate here out front. Final transition into the final outside zone. And nicely done across that finish line. Here we go. Back on the replay, Tikhon, Pleski again out front, leading his teammate through the course and doing a fantastic job doing so. Continuing on up the hill now, sweeping through that 5. Perfect for the inside clip. Again, we want the lead wheel in the center of that box. Tikhon doing exactly that. Little line given up there in that chase position to stay with his teammate Tikhon out front. But a good job by both of these so far. We bring them back to the start line to flip them around for the second half of their battle. And here we go. Initiating in, Tikhon on more angle than his teammate in that chase position. Continuing on through turn number 1, now into 2. Filling outside zone 4, but leaves it very, very soon. It doesn't quite grab 5 either. Tikhon pushes his teammate along in the plateau section. Down the hill now. And across the line, getting pushed by Tikhon. Let's take another look here at the teammate battle. Again, Vladislav out front, doing a good job, nice and smooth. Tikhon coming in with more angles somehow. See Vladislav not quite on the right line, leaving outside zone number 2 a little bit soon. 4 as well. And then not quite grabbing 5. There's maybe the tiny little push. It's hard to tell there, right along that camera change. Bumper to bumper through the final transition. And there they go across that finish line. Do we have a decision between these two? This one I could see going one more time as well. Tikhon on the left, Vladislav on the right. And absolutely see coast. That is why we have changed our schedule for today, is because of the widespread potential for power outages all across the US, including myself. Not to mention quite a bit of drivers are also under the gun here. The track will go out as soon as I finish a small little update for it. I'll try and finish it tonight, and they are going to line back up for one more time. As they come to the line, I'll explain that. A couple of little things I'd like to update before sending it out to the public, because I like to try and avoid public updates and relying on everyone having to go and download updates and get it right in order to be able to join the server. So I'll try and get everything done that I can for sending it out. Like all the lights you see around the course do not work just yet. They actually need an object tied to them as well. So they're coming back to the line. Tikhon back out front to lead his teammate Vladislav through the course. Here in the one more time battle. Top 16. 2 one more times already. I think maybe 3. Initiating in. Oh, and going off course is Tikhon, Pleski, dropping 2 tires in turn number 1. Getting pushed along in turn number 2 now. Vladislav falling back quite a bit. But right back into the fight here. Down across 9, filling it nicely into 10. With Vladislav right there in chase. Pushing Tikhon across that finish line. Go to the replay. And Tikhon out front in the darker shaded BMW out front. Way off course there. It doesn't seem to be any contact before Tikhon going off course. It is very close. He could have gotten a bit of a push, but it also looked like Tikhon came absolutely flying into turn number 1. Final transition. And across that finish line. Back to the line, ready to go. Vladislav, through the chicane. Second half of the one more time battle. Tikhon matching that angle a little bit better now. Both of them staying on course. The beginning of this second half. Working their way up the hill. Vladislav still not feeling for all that well. And maybe a little bit of contact from Tikhon in that chase position. Through that transition into 5, down into the final outside zone as well, and across that finish line. Nicely done from Vladislav out front. We'll go to the replay. Working their way through outside zone number 2. Snappy transition by both. Tikhon right there with his teammate pushing him along, and then whoop, right there. It does seem like Tikhon might have gotten in the way, might have grabbed his bumper through that transition. I think it'll come down to what happened in the first half of the battle anyway. Let's take a look. Go to our judges. Tikhon on the left, Vladislav on the right. Do we have a winner here in the one more time battle? We do. Tikhon Pleski gets the win over teammate Vladislav Yakulevich. So I would assume there would be some contact there heading into turn number 1 as we saw Tikhon go off course there. Again, Tikhon will move on into the top 8, and next up Ernestas Yakulevich and David Lashko. And they're off. Initiating in. Nice and smooth out front from David, filling 2. Right along the bumper is Ernestas. We got our graphic just a little bit backwards once more. And David out front, filling that zone at the top of the hill. Nicely done into the final outside zone. There we go, across that finish line. We go with that replay. David out front, firing off quickly, getting around that reference point and filling outside zone number 2. Right along that bumper is Ernestas, reeling him in quickly and stays in the pocket for outside zone number 4. Sweeps across that 5 and around that inside clip and around 2 as well. That's 9. Final transition is deep, hanging the wing over the wall. They'll drive back to the start. Back of the line, ready to go for the second half of their battle. Ernestas now out front. Lead David Lashko. Firing in, tons of speed, picks up that throttle quickly and fills outside zone number 2, leaving David behind a little bit, but David's back into the fight there through that first transition into the pocket, up the hill, across that outside 5, down hill. Final transition, nice and snappy along that wall. David right there with him, pushing him across that finish line. Nice and scrappy by the 2 of them. Take another look. Very smooth through turn number 1 there. Altitude, super snappy there. Almost late into outside zone number 3 from Ernestas out front. Still not quite getting 5 right, I think, as well. And we're just commentating through here. We're not the judge. They continue on across that finish line. And we go to those actual judges that have the hard part of the day. Ernestas on the left, David on the right. And we have another one more time. Chris goes right for David, but we're gonna line him back up, bring it back to the start. Run him again. Back at the line and ready to go for their one more time here in the top 16. I think it's been like one more times in the top 16. Initiating in. My goodness. Door to door all the way through turn number 1. Honestly afraid he was going to push him off the course for outside zone number 2, but doesn't. Look at this! Door to door. Through 7, 8, 9, and into 10 as well. Ernestas applying some pressure in that chase position. Take another look. Good initiation. A little contact there, I think, as well. Stays with him. And I thought he was going to push him off course. Then barely leaves enough room for the transition. Right back into the pocket as well. Before heading up this hill. Big dive there. Stays, matches the line and angle perfectly through inside clip number 2. We see a little puff of dirt there right before 9 as well. Go across that finish line. They'll go back to the start for the second half. Oh, back at the line, ready to go here. Ernestas now out front. David to give chase. Snappy initiation from Ernestas out front, getting around that inside reference point and into the next outside zone. Snappy into 3 as well. Bills 4 this time nicely. On time on the transition up the hill and gets away from David a little bit here, working their way back down, filling 9. Now into 10. Snappy transition once more from Ernestas out front, crossing that finish line with David right there on his door. Take another look. Yeah, it's super snappy on that initiation from Ernestas, and then he keeps the snappiness going here into 3. David reeling him in. Out of the smoke there. But still just not quite as close. Now we do see Ernestas go a little bit wide. Inside clip number 2. But the lead having its little flaws. Well as that chase. We go to our judges. Ernestas on the left. David on the right. Winner goes into the top 8. And there it is. Ernestas gets the win over David Lasko. Tough battle between those two. Going one more time here in the top 16. We'll see Ernestas in the top 8. One more battle to go here in the top 16. Coming right up. Alan Hines and Abdurrahman Al-Shetwi with Abdurrahman to lead. Here we go. Alshetwi. The lead, Alan Hines, initiating in. Last and final top 16 battle. And look at there, Alan Hines literally glued to the door. They continue on, not quite filling outside zone number 3 as Abdulrahman out front. Fills 4, grabs 5, and stays on the outside of that inside rumble. That's where we want him. Down the hill now, filling 9, into 10. Final dive from Alan Hines in that chase position. There they go across that finish line. Little dirt drop from Al-Shetwi. That last wall catching him out there at the end. It's the wall that comes away from you. It tapers off. It does kind of throw your visuals off. You gotta be prepared for it. Adjust your line and stay on course. There we see just kind of driving out of that outside zone number 3 a little soon. Grabbing 5, staying on the outside around that inside clip. There as well, a little bit on the inside there. Final outside zone here. Great transition into it. There. Tiny little dirt drop. Again, across that finish line though. It is on the other end of that finish line. So back to the line. Alan Hines now out front in our final top 16 battle. Abdulrahman to give chase. Abdulrahman qualifying 6th today. Alan qualifying 11th. And throwing the RTR in. Getting around that inside reference point and filling outside zone number 2 with Abdulrahman right there in chase. Going after a little dive there. Working their way up the hill. Alan filling 4 nicely. Sweeps across 5 and stays on the outside of the inside clip there as well. Bang on the inside box. Final transition. Big angle into the final outside zone along that wall. Staying on that track and crossing the finish line. Let's take a second look here on the replay. Happy initiation. Very clean line through turn number 1. Leaving that outside when he needs to. Super deep on 3. And look at the pressure there. Abdulrahman. Fantastic job in that chase as well. Alan making that opportunity humongous out front. Take another look. Or excuse me, not another look. Go to the judges where they have already slid right. So Alan Hines is going to get the win here in the top 16. We'll see him in the top 8 against Ernestes Yakulevich. We'll bring up our top 16 bracket for the last time before moving on into the top 8. So there you have it. Brandon Gardner getting the win over Nico Stelea. Mustafa Amine getting the win over Juan. Vitali Assam getting the win over William Holloway. Stephen Hatcher getting the win over Alexander Jaggard. Zack Sullivan also getting the win over Daniel Andrejev. Tikhon Pleski taking out his teammate Vladislav Yakulevich. And Ernestes Yakulevich getting the win over David Lasko. And then just now Alan Hines getting the win over Abdulrahman Al-Jetwi. They'll get their little bit of practice runs in, and we will bring up our top 8 bracket. There you go. Take some screenshots if you'd like to. We're down to our top 8. We should have those drivers coming to the line now. Brandon Gardner and Mustafa Amine. Like Mustafa was coming to the line and then quickly went back. All right, and to the line, Brandon Gardner. The lead, Mustafa, Amine, through the course here in the top 8. Brandon Gardner qualifying 16th. Mustafa qualifying 24th. Here we go. Initiating in is Brandon. Mustafa right there in tow. Staying with him so far, right along the bumper, through that transition and a dive from Mustafa. He makes it work, stays with him up the hill, but sacrificing a lot of angle there in that chase position. Staying with him though. Brandon going wide of inside clip number 2 and down the hill. Snappy transition to finish it off. There they go across that finish line. Mustafa pushing him along. Take another look on the replay. Nicely done out front from Brandon Gardner. The transition for 3 as well. There we see that dive from Mustafa, and Mustafa kind of gets stuck at that lower angle. But makes it work across that first inside clip. There we see Brandon go wide a little bit of inside clip number 2. Bumper right along that wall. Pushed across that finish line. So back at the line, ready to go for the second half of their top 8 battle. Lights are blue. They are off. Mustafa out front this time, firing off quickly. Filling outside zone number 2. And working their way up the hill. Nicely done. Filling the next outside zone, a little bit wide of the first one, but bang on the second one. Filling 9 as well, hangs on to the outside, makes that final transition. Did we see a little puff of dirt? It's tough to tell. Brandon's right there on his door across that finish line. Let's take another look. Mustafa out front, initiating in, almost too wide, almost too late as well, but makes it work. Brandon in that chase position also making it work. Bumper to bumper through that first transition. Nicely done in the pocket from Brandon Gardner out front. Around that inside clip. Filling 9, maybe a little late. Yeah, we do. Tiny little dirt drop there before that wall run. It's amazing he didn't go into the wall, but we'll go to our judges here. Brandon Gardner on the left, Mustafa on the right. Winner goes on to the final 4. So there it is. Brandon Gardner is going to get the win over Mustafa, and we'll see him in the final 4. Fantastic battle between those two. Nice and scrappy. High energy from both. But we move on to our next battle. Vitali out front, even to give chase. Ali through the chicane, firing off and working his way around turn number 1 with Steven right there in chase. Steven going after a dive. It's paying off so far as they work their way up the hill now. Filling 5, and Steven pops out of the smoke and goes for another massive dive there. Sort of making it work, but it is stabby. It is lacking some angle in that chase position there as well. There they go across that finish line. Take a second look here. Vitali again out front. Chased down by Steven. The transition for 3, working their way up the hill around that inside reference point. Steven sacrificing a lot of line and angle through that section of the course to get that proximity down. He does have great proximity, but if Vitali can be smoother with it and hold that same proximity, it will be better. Go, Steven Hatcher out front. Vitali giving chase. Steven firing off quickly. Getting around that inside reference point and filling outside 2. Filling 3 as well. Nicely done. Very smooth transition. Working his way up the hill. Doesn't quite fill 4 though. Leaves it early. Makes a dive for that inside clip. Gets around it. Gets around 2 as well. Putting that lead wheel right in the middle of the box. Final transition into the final outside zone with Vitali reeling him in. There they go across that finish line. There's that replay. Ooh, a little contact there maybe from Vitali in turn number 1. Pushing Steven just a little bit. And we want to see door to door, but we do not want to see contact. Working his way through. Literally perfect on the inside clip from Steven there. Final transition, very close to that track edge. Could have been a little bit deeper on the wall. Ended up dropping a tire there after that finish line. Oh, we go to our judges. Vitali on the left, Steven Hatcher on the right. And there it is. It is a one more time. We're going to line them back up here in the top 8. Tons of one more times today. So back of the line, ready to go for their one more time battle here in the top 8. Vitali out front, Steven to give chase. Now on the run up, very small run up today. Firing off quickly as well. Very smooth through turn number 1 out front. Good there as well, working his way through outside 4, 5. A little bit tight to the inside clip. Is Vitali out front. And there they go across that finish line. So visually, looking like Vitali trying to get away from Steven here. Not a whole lot of angle there through 1. Is okay here on 2. It's a smooth transition. Just not a whole lot of angle, working his way up the hill. Fills 5 pretty good, and then a little bit further on the inside. Doesn't quite fill 6 or 7 as well. And here, sacrificing a little bit of angle, but Steven doing a good job in that chase position to deal with it and stay with him. Back of the line, ready to go. Steven out front this time. Vitali to give chase. Throwing that S13 in. Tons of angle, filling 2. Into 3 now. Good angle there as well. Filling 4. And staying on the outside of that rumble strip. Near perfect there on the second one. Utilizing all the track here and a good transition to finish things out, and a ton of angle across that finish line. Vitali applying some pressure there in the chase as well. Take another look. Even again, tossing that car in there, getting out the 2. Really good line through 3 and up the hill as well. Got some good angle there, good transition up the hill. A little bit wide of the first inside clip, but we'd rather him be there than on the inside, I think. Big angle for the final turn. There they go across that finish line. We'll go to the judges again between these two. One more time battle between these two already. Vitali on the left, Steven Hatcher on the right. Right, will we have another one more time between these two? And no, we do have a victor. Vitali gets the win over Steven Hatcher. We have a one more time from Chris. Once more, Ed and Carl go left for Vitali Assam. So up next, the right-hand side of our top 8 bracket. Zack O'Sullivan and Tikhon Pleski. Zack having a tough road here in round number 3. First battling Daniel Andrejev, now having to battle Tikhon Pleski here in the top 8. They're at the line, ready to go. A little puff of smoke. Zack letting him know he's ready. Through the chicane. And firing off. Right on time. Big angle, but has to make a small little correction. Zack made it look extremely smooth, but definitely had to work the car out there to outside zone number 2. They continue on, filling 4, filling 5, and getting into the outside of that inside clip. Nicely done. Yeah, we want to stay them off the rumble strips, then working their way through the final outside zone now with Tikhon right there on the door, but is on the inside line a little bit. Let's take another look. Firing in. Tikhon sacrificing a lot of angle in that chase position. There we see that teeny tiny little correction there. A little bit of left foot brake to work that car out to outside zone number 2. Nicely done on that next transition. And perfect on that inside clip. Grabbing that next zone. And here we see Tikhon a little bit on the inside there of that final turn. Here we go. Second half of their top 8 battle. Tikhon Pleski out front, initiating in, slow rolls to angle, and somehow works it out to that outside zone number 2. Zack dealing with it. Staying right there with him. On the inside a little bit of Tikhon. Continuing on around that second inside clip. Final transition where Zack goes for a dive. And across that finish line. Take another look here. Top 8 run. Second half. Almost being pushed from Zack O'Sullivan in that chase position. Nicely done for turn number 2 as well. Could have been a little bit deeper from Tikhon out front. Doesn't quite fill 4 all the way. 5 maybe as well. Down the hill now. And along that outside, we go to our judges. Once more here in the top 8. Between these champions, Zack O'Sullivan on the left, Tikhon Pleski on the right. Do we have a winner? And we do have a winner. Zack O'Sullivan is going to get the win over Tikhon Pleski. Chris and Carl go left. Ed wanted it one more time. And we'll see Zack in the final 4. Up next are Nestas Yakulevich and Alan Hines. They're already at the line, ready to go. Our last top 8 battle before sending it into the final 4. They're ready to go. Lights are on. Graphic is backwards. Alan Hines is out front. Initiating in. Firing off quickly. around that inside reference point and filling outside zone number 2. Good transition across 4-3 and working his way up the hill now. Maybe dropping a little bit of tire there. I think that's the first time we've seen that today. Alan Hines out front. And tire on 7, I believe. We'll take a second look. Again, Alan out front. Graphic being backwards. Those of you that have just joined us or have never seen a round before, Alan leading our Nestes. Almost some contact there. It's hard, very hard to tell if Alan was being pushed wide a little bit there. It's very, very, very close. There they go across that finish line. Strong battle to start this final top 8 battle out. Winner moves on into the final 4. Back of the line, ready to go with our Nestes out front. Alan to give chase. And firing into turn number 1. I don't know how a tire wasn't dropped there along that first outside zone where the rumble strip ends. Snappy transition. To work their way up the hill. Alan unfazed. Cross 7. Down the hill now, filling 9. And another snappy transition from Ernestes. Allen reels him right back in, and they cross that finish line. Ernestes with the snappy transitions today. Snappy initiation as well. Almost being pushed by Allen. Filling 2. Snappy once more. Almost awkward. Into 3. Move through there, down across this inside clip, puts his tire right in the middle of that box, and final snappy transition once more. There they go across that finish line. Nicely done by these drivers. Ernestes is on the left, Allen on the right. So overhearing it, our graphic isn't going. I hope we haven't lost the well, one OMT. There they go. They're popping up. It's gonna be a one more time. They're gonna line back up. Ernestes to give chase. Alan Hines to lead. Alan qualifying 11th. Ernestes qualifying 30th today. So battling his way. Well, really, yeah, he didn't qualify 30th. Would have been lower than that. He battled his way through the last 16 qualifying battles. We're off for the one more time battle here between these two. Alan Hines initiating in, and a humongous angle. He makes it work. He drives out of it. Gets to outside zone number 2, and all the way out there for 3. Really, just a ton of rumble strip there. Continuing on, staying on the outside of that first inside clip. That one as well, but a little tight to it. Final transition, Ernestes staying there with him, and almost pushing him across the finish line. My goodness gracious, was on the inside just a little bit there, but the proximity was tight. Let's take another look. Alan Hines, big initiation, humongous angle, somehow makes it work. Grabs 2. Good transition there as well, nice and flowy. Ernestes taking advantage. Putting his car right into the pocket of that RTR Mustang out front, and then almost some contact there. Again, we want to see the lead tire in the middle of those inside boxes as well. So Alan, just a little bit on the inside. They continue on, crossing that finish line. My goodness, we'll line them back up for the second half of their one more time battle. So back of the line, ready to go. Ernestes out front. Alan Hines to give chase. Initiating in. Fantastic job through turn number 1. Alan going after it there through that first transition, and it pays off right there in the pocket of that smaller S chassis. Working his way back into it now. Ernestes goes wide of second inside clip. Alan, final dive there, a little bit on the inside. My goodness, across that finish line. Jeez. Scrappy between these two. Let's take another look. Ernestes out front. Alan giving chase. Nice and snappy into that initiation. We've seen it all day from Ernestes. He is snappy everywhere throughout this course. A little late there for 3. Grabs 4. A little late for 5 as well. And again, wide of that second inside clip. And they go across that finish line. We'll go to our judges once more here in the top 8. Ernestes on the left, Alan on the right. Yes, very much so. Well, not in the virtual space. We don't need halos. But in this level of competition, if it was IRL, most places do require the use of halos. Even though the style of halos that we kind of use in drifting aren't, like, they help a little bit, but they aren't, NASCAR halos where your head's stuffed in there. And that would be a wrong statistic and a assumption. Ernestes gets the win over Alan Hines. My goodness. The snappy transitions continue into the top 4. He'll face Zack O'Sullivan in the top 4. Brandon Gardner also gets the win, and Vitali Assam. Got a little issue with the bracket. We'll see if we can get that sorted for us. Missing a result there. But our next battle is ready to go at the line. Galley. Maybe we did lose a Dion. Oh, I see what he's doing. He's entering in that result for them too. We move on into the final 4. There we go. We're ready to go. Vitali Assam is gonna lead Brandon Gardner through the course here. Top 4, round number 3. Vitali looking good here, trying to get away from Brandon Gardner, and he's kind of doing a good job. I will shut my mouth. This Brandon Gardner is right back into it. My goodness, that transition on 5. Continuing on. There they go across that finish line. Let's take another look. Initiating in. Not quite settling into a whole lot of angle there along that initiation is Vitali. Driving away from 2 as well, and driving away from Brandon, working his way up the hill. Again, quite the lack of angle out front, but Brandon, look at there. Somehow tucks up underneath that transition. Final 1 into the final turn here. Stays with him. There they go across that finish line. Brandon already back, ready to go. And off they go. Oh my goodness. Tons of angle on that initiation from Brandon Gardner. Nicely done. He makes it work. Snappy transition into 3 as well. Working his way up the hill. Filling 4 nicely. Grabs 5. Transitions through it. Filling 7. Gets down to the inside clip somehow with a small correction. Down into the last and final outside zone with Vitali right there along the door. Goodness gracious. Take another look. In top 4 battle. Winner goes on into the final. Loser does hang around for their top 3 battle though. Brandon filling outside zone number 2 after initiating in with tons of angle there, working his way up the hill. Filling 4 or 5. Nicely done for that inside clip as well, making that small little adjustment to put that front lead wheel right in the middle of that box. There they go across that finish line. We go to our judges. Winner goes on into the finals. Brandon Gardner on the left, Vitali on the right. It is going to be Brandon Gardner moving on into the finals. Vitali sticks around for his 3rd place battle though. Fantastic job. Up next, Zack O'Sullivan and Ernestus Yakulevich. Jaku coming to the line. Zack O'Sullivan will lead, qualifying 2nd today. And working his way through a very tough bracket. Any takedown Ernestus. Ernestus keep things going with these snappy transitions. He does make some contact along Zack O'Sullivan's rear bumper. They continue on. Zack kind of stepping through that transition. He works his way up the hill. Filling 7. Nicely done for the inside clip. Landing that wheel right along the middle of that box. And across that finish line. Nicely done here in the top 4. I mean, what did we really expect here? Let's take another look. Here we have that contact. That coming in maybe a little slow there. Maybe a little slow indeed. But it is in the middle of that decel zone. It'd maybe be a little different if the contact happened right outside of it. But it's hard to call. Judges might go over it a little bit. They drive their way back down the hill now. That's the final transition where Ernestus reels him back in, pushes him across that finish line, and they'll drive back to the start. Ernestus. The lead, Zack O'Sullivan. Second half, snappy initiation once more from Ernestus. Zack dealing with it. Staying in the pocket, right along the bumper through that first transition and reels him in quickly. Stays with him up the hill here. Good transition for 5, but not quite filling it all the way. Ernestus goes super wide for inside clip number 2. Final transition and snappy once more. Zack taking advantage, reeling him in quickly and staying with him all the way up into that finish line. Let's take a second look on the replay. Initiating in, filling outside zone number 1. Zack avoiding contact. Snappy transition. Again, almost looks late from Ernestus. How he hangs on to it so long and then snaps. There we see him go way wide of that inside clip. Final transition. Zack reels him in quickly, stays with him across that finish line, and we go to our judges. Zack on the left, Ernestus on the right. Winner goes on to the finals. And loser sticks around for their their 3rd place battle. That final spot on the podium. Do we have one more time here for round number 3? This round could almost be a record. So we do have a winner. Zack O'Sullivan gets the win. So Chris wanted it one more time between the two, but Zack O'Sullivan gets the win with Ed and Carl going left. We'll see Zack in the finals against his teammate Brandon Gardner, but before then, it's going to be Ernestes and Vitali facing off for the last and final spot on the podium. That third place, Vitali will lead as he qualified for today. Ernestes battled his way through the last 16 qualifying battles before finding himself battling it out for third position. Pull up that bracket just for a second there as you see it play out. They come to the line. Again, Vitali will lead, qualifying fourth. Ernestes not quite qualifying 30th. A little bit outside of that, battled his way through. So without that last 16, Ernestes would not have qualified today. Here we go. Vitali, he'll lead him through. Third place, picking up throttle quickly, working his way around that inside reference point and into outside zone number 2 with Ernestes making a dive there in that chase position, staying with him up the hill. Good transition for 5, staying on the outside of that inside rumble, putting his tire right in the middle of that inside box. Final transition, Ernestes making a final dive there, makes it work. There they go across that finish line. Take another look. Vitali out front. Ernestes finding himself a little bit on the inside line there. Makes it work. Gets back into the pocket where he needs to be in that chase position. Big dive there, almost making some contact. And 7. To go, finishing it out. They'll drive back to the start. We'll flip them around for the second half of their third place battle. Right back in the line, ready to go. Ernestes out front. Vitali to give chase. Winner takes third place for round number 3 in season 10 here at Castelletto Circuit. They work their way around turn number 1. On up into outside zone number 3. Up the hill. Filling 4. Right along that inside clip. Could have been a little bit tighter to it. Down the hill. Final snappy transition from Ernestes out front. There they go across that finish line. Vitali right there in chase. Let's take another look. For third place. Snappy initiation, but Vitali didn't care. Threw it right onto the door. Could have put a credit card in between them. Nicely done along that plateau. Down the hill as well. Good snappy transition. Could have been a little bit deeper along the wall there. Is Ernestes? Again, makes it work. Here we go to the judges. For third place. Vitali on the left, Ernestes on the right. No, this track has not been released publicly and will after the round. Absolutely. Still got a couple of things to update. Hopefully I can get everything done before we possibly lose power. And there it is. We do have a one more time. We're going to line them back up. Full split call here for third place. Oh yes, the people that don't respect the free content that's given out to them. Oh, back to the line. Vitali will lead, qualifying fourth today. Ernestus give chase. Battling his way through the last 16, now here for third. Can he find himself on the podium? There it is. Continuing on through turn number 1, Vitali out front, filling outside zone at number 3. Around that inside clip. Perfect on the second one. Filling 9. Down into the last and final zone, staying along that wall. Nicely done by both these drivers. They're making it tough for the judges once more. Vitali out front here on the replay. Getting his way through. Ernestus dropping back just a little bit for that transition. Makes the dive there in that chase. Well, maybe a little bit of contact there, pushing Vitali along. Their way through 7 now, 8, down into 9. Final transition, look at there. Great job by both these drivers. Yeah, if I was up by you, Stump, I'd probably be all right, but I am not. Here we go, back to the line. Ernestus back out front. One more time for third place. And another snappy initiation. Not as quite as snappy as we've seen, but look at there, Vitali getting out of whack there in turn number 1. Nice and smooth into turn number 2, though. Gets back into the fight, working their way up the hill now. Around that inside clip. Down across the next one, a little bit of contact, a little bit of nudging from Vitali in that chase position. Final snappy transition from Ernestus. And they go across that finish line. Take another look. Here we go. Ernestus sending it in. There we see like a small of a rotation there from Vitali in that chase position. Washes out, but then gets right back into it quickly. Will we see Ernestus fight his way through the last 16 qualifying battles and then take home third position here for round number 3? Again, would have qualified outside of the traditional top 32 and then battled his way through. Let's take a look here on the judges graphic. Vitali on the left, Ernestus on the right. And there it is. Ernestus does take the win there over Vitali Assam. My goodness, battling his way through the last 16 qualifying battles all day today. And takes home third place. Absolutely insane. But we've got our final battle at the line ready to go. It's going to be Zack O'Sullivan and teammate Brandon Gardner. They're ready to go at the line. And through the chicane. Initiating in. Firing off quickly. Zack out front. Filling outside zone number 2. Teammate in the same, I believe, identical car. I think they're on the same exact data as they work their way up the hill. Zack could have been a little bit deeper for 4 and 5 as well. But that leaves an opportunity for Brandon to pop right on in to that pocket in the chase position. Once more until the final turn as well. Filling that last and final outside zone. Nicely done by both of these drivers. Take another look. Initiating in is Zack. Almost some contact there. It's we unfortunately don't have some colliders for the wheels you see on the car. That definitely would have been a mounting. Brandon Gardner in that chase. So close in proximity here. Final dive there to the last outside zone. But Zack near a perfect lead out front. All right, back at the line, ready to go. Brandon Gardner now out front here in the final battle. Second half. Teammate Zack O'Sullivan to give chase. And initiating in, filling outside zone number 1, picking up that throttle early and filling outside zone number 2. Bumper to bumper through that first transition. Zack reeling him in, stay in there with him up the hills. Brandon, really good job on 4, 5, around 6 as well. Ooh, and going wide for 7 does get a little tap in that chase position, but I think it is from the little adjustment of Brandon trying to get down into that inside clip. There they go across that finish line. My goodness. Here we go, back with that replay. Filling outside zone number 2. Good job out front. Filling 3 into 4, filling 4 very well as works his way there. We've seen it is tough. It's hard to tell if Brandon was already going wide before that contact, and that's where it came from. Is Brandon trying to get down to the outside or to the inside number 2 there? Here we go. To the judges, maybe for the final time. Brandon Gardner on the left, Zack O'Sullivan on the right. Do we have a winner for round number 3, Castelletto Circuit, here, season 10? Oh, and there's slide. Okay, is what just happened. Chris goes left. We have a one more time in the middle, and Carl goes left as well. Brandon Gardner gets the win over teammate Zack O'Sullivan. Here for round number 3. Congratulations to Brandon Gardner, Zack O'Sullivan, Ernestus, Yakulevich, everyone that attended today's round and made their adjustments to make today's round happen as well. We've got just a crazy winter storm across the U.S. and made some changes. Basically a very, very last minute call to hold the top 32 main event today instead of tomorrow, to avoid any potential power outages all across the U.S. and the rest of the staff stepped up as well. Dion, it's probably like 6 a.m. for Dion right now. He's still up doing the stuff in the background. Our judges as well, Chris, Ed, and Carl, and Caius running the line all day today. We've got them back at the line ready to do their 3-man tandem. Absolute insanity from all 3 of those drivers just now to get through this tight technical section in a 3-man is absolutely insane. But again, amazing event. I will need to work on the track just a little bit. I got it to the point where it would work fine for what we needed it for today. So it might take me a little bit of time. I'll try and get it done as quickly as possible. But it is dinner time for me as well, so I'm going to go eat. It might be later on tonight. It might be in the morning. But I know I have quite the potential for power outage later, really tomorrow morning. So I'm going to try and get that done before that happens. I appreciate everyone for tuning in today. I hope you all enjoyed the event. A big shout out to all the drivers today as well. Again, making that change and getting that done today. A lot of people I know probably sacrificed the rest of their Saturday to make it happen today for the other drivers that might be affected tomorrow. So that's awesome that so many voted on it. We didn't get to see Masashi. That was an unfortunate loss we had there, but just one by run there in the top 32. Big shout out to our staff as well. Chris, Ed, and Carl as our judges today. Dion in the background as well. Kay just working the light all day today. It makes for a long day, like 7-8 hours straight doing these events. But well worth it. We have a good time, and Now we'll have another sick layout to put out there for our public servers and for everyone to enjoy and have fun with. So stick around for that. A big shout out to our sponsors, our official title sponsor, Sim Magic. Best in the business, in my opinion. I love my Alpha Ewing. I'm not, yeah. No shill here. I love the thing, I'm not gonna lie. Fantastic piece of kit. That's gonna do it. Grip roll as well. Love the grip roll wheels. Joko Design. He makes the that semaphore you see driving around the cages is driving right now, as well as the start gate. A bunch of other stuff he allows me to use to build these awesome layouts. If you didn't know, it's me that puts together these layouts for the past several seasons now. But it doesn't become possible one without my testers, Chapo. Lift Pass Anton back there in the background, Kitten as well, showing up. Tyler Nelson's been helping me out in the background as well, testing these layouts and getting the zone placements where they need to be and everything like that. And then of course those objects from Joka Orthan as well. He helps us on all of our car mods, helps a bunch of the pro drivers as well get their cars together. Geronimo, he just now joined the family as well. We'll see some more from him later on in the season. And then Ali Yusuf. A lot of what you see with the background, like the bracket and things like that, really sets us up well for that. We greatly appreciate everyone that is involved and that helps make this all happen. Same with you, Tanner, if you're still tuned in, even though Tanner had to leave us earlier. That's all right. He joined us for qualifying and just wasn't able to stay for the change that we had today. He already had plans. But hopefully I kept you all entertained enough throughout all these insane battles. It's not about me. My goodness, I think the battles said enough for today. My goodness gracious. But appreciate everyone for tuning in. I'll get the track done as soon as I can and get it out on our public servers for everyone to have fun with. Well, see you in a few weeks for round number 4 as well. Tune in for that. Or stay tuned for the announcement. Again, it's 24 hours before qualifying is when the drivers get the tracks now. Stay tuned. We'll see y'all soon.